Welcome back to the Talk of the Town podcast. The boys are coming to you from Sunday evening after the round of football has been and gone. Harry, we've just got the two of us this week because Gus is too tied up with harvesting, but you've been nice enough to join us after a big few days of harvesting. How are you, mate?
Good, mate. I've jumped straight off the tractor at about 8:30 and now recording. I think Angus is in bed, I reckon.
Yeah, mate. On the header. It's hard work, isn't it? Sitting there all day.
Hey, mate, I'll defend him here. Since Tuesday, well, since our last record, we've spent more time working than we have not. It's been 12-hour days and more, which is good for the bank account.
You guys have been flat out. Absolutely flat out. I mean, we recorded Monday morning for the Monday of the Masters because that was really the only time we could get it in.
Yeah,
and even today we were like, we didn't want to have that same repeat of what we had on the Monday morning, so we wanted to get one out late to you on the Sunday, which is what we're doing. But yeah, you guys have been going flat out. Obviously, I was at the farm. I drove out Monday, didn't I? And I was there just Monday to Tuesday.
Yeah,
and you guys, I hardly saw you guys because of how busy you were. Yeah. And you were obviously at up at Granddad's, and then now you're at home, which is easier, but it's also a way bigger job. What you've been driving the Chaser bin, Harry?
Yep, Chase been driving. I've been swapping with Dad. So I've just been doing the paddock work, and he's been doing the more cruisy unloading into bags and silos. So it's been good. Like I just sit in the aircon, listen to podcasts, scroll reels.
Like, what you would have burnt through your podcasts. What have you delved into? Because there is times where I remember when I was graduating. It was the summer before I went to uni and moved to Brisbane. I remember I also was doing so much farm work that I got through so many podcasts that I ended up needing to actually find new ones, which is such a niche position to be in, because then once you go back to being at school, you find these podcasts that you really enjoy, but you're like, I just don't have the time to listen to them. So have you got anything that might be added to the playlist?
Not added to the playlist, but not for ones I'm going to keep listening to once school goes back, which is tomorrow, but I'll be coming home and doing work on the tractor after, potentially leaving at lunchtime. I found this podcast called Sports Bazaar.
We spoke about it on Red, White and Roo
with Mick Malloy and Titus O'Reilly, and they just go into deep dives into like random things that have happened in sport. Well, not random, but like
abnormal.
Yeah, abnormal
things that aren't your run of the mill. It's the weird and wacky, wonderful stories that come
they go
from
really in depth. So I've listened to 3 of those. Oh, 4 actually.
So that you did Diego Maradona, the America's Cup, and what are the other ones you've
Diego Maradona, 7-part, like all of these are basically now along. 7-part Diego Maradona, 7-part America's Cup, 7-part the road to the Qatar World Cup and FIFA's corruption, and then a 4-part of Hitler's Olympics in 1936.
Nice. So a real range of sports history there.
They've all been great. I've really enjoyed them.
How obviously, Harry, we run Red, White and Roo, our Socceroos World Cup special series we're doing this year. How did you find the FIFA corruption ones? Because I think the listeners that will know about FIFA's corruption might have watched the FIFA documentary on Netflix that tells the same story.
It's so funny. They go back to when it started, and FIFA had no power, and then Avalanche changes it. He brings he realizes that every country's worth one vote. The Caribbean's got 35 countries. So
yeah. And it's where you start to get the characters
like big hitters.
It's where you start to get the characters like Jack Warner involved, where these guys they just did whatever they wanted.
Jack Warner is so rugby. And
yeah,
then, is it Blazer or Glazer? He's the big Santa Claus.
Chuck Blazer.
Chuckles. And it's crazy.
A big podcast you and I listen to, the Football Ramble. I remember they would do deep dives on it as it was happening. This would have been, because this all really broke out like 2010s, I would say. You would have been very little. But
15.
Yeah.
It all came to the head with the arrests at the FIFA conference.
Yeah, mate. I remember them having an absolute field day on the ramble, just like taking the piss out of it, because some of the stories and the carry on, even like Sepp Blatter and everything he's done and still says, you just go like, mate, how did this go on for as long as possible?
Sepp Blatter's innocent. Like he's had no consequences. To this day, he has not been punished, and he's not been found guilty.
The punishment he did get is, he can't run for FIFA presidency for like 10 years or something. He's nearly finished serving it.
Yeah, but like when he's 80, it's like he's 90 now.
From a criminal point of view, he didn't get any real justice, I think you would say. I think the way he was running it was there was a lot of other guys doing his dirty work.
Yeah, but even then, he wasn't really like, he was corrupt, and he was like, but everyone else kind of like was more corrupt than him.
Yeah.
Like Jack Warner and Chuck Blazer were, I'd say, the two that are big. And then Chuck Blazer goes and be's a double agent with microphones in his keys that he sits on the table.
Yeah.
But no,
mate. So that's interesting, because I had Sport Bazaar. I had it recommended to me ages ago. Someone recommended it to me, and it was all one of those things where you're like, oh, I'm sure I'll enjoy that, but I'll check it out. And then obviously, as the other Town Files episodes are coming out, both Gus and I mentioned the '83 America's Cup win. And so when I was driving out to the farm last week, it was on my mind, and I wanted to listen to more about it. And I saw that they did a 7-part series. So I was like, oh, okay, I'll listen to this. And then that then got me scrolling through their feed and seeing all the wonderful episodes they've done. So, and I recommended to you the America's Cup one that then has come at a pretty good time for you, because you had so much dead time on the chaser bin. So there's definitely a recommendation for everyone if you're interested in that.
Yeah.
Outside of harvesting, Harry, school goes back tomorrow for yourself and I, back into term 2. Before you know it, mate, it'll be June, July, school holidays, and the World Cup will be in full swing, and we'll be covering every part of it on Red, White and Blue. Are you excited to go back to school tomorrow?
I'm leaving a bit of money on the table by not working, but I'm keen for like the actual school part of like not just sitting on the tractor. Like I love the tractor, but it's going to be good. Like I've done nothing since Tuesday other than sitting on the tractor, so it's going to be nice actually go and like see some people. But meet up
big
with
time.
Mates,
I think that
good fun, but I'm not keen to do some assignments. I've got a big biology assignment, which, funny story about my biology assignment, me and my partner who I'm doing it with, we started it a bit late, and we're like, oh yeah, we'll take it home over the holidays and water it. I leave early to go to the footy that Thursday, and I get a message from her at about 5 o'clock going, yeah, I've forgotten our prac in the science lab, and it had slipped my mind as well. And I'm there going like, oh, so we've joined another group, because she lives about 3 hours away from Dalby, and I emailed it our science teacher, and he was like, just join another group, doesn't matter, or just fake your data. So
what was your prac?
Growth rate of mung beans under influence.
That's right. You were chatting about this on a previous episode. Gotcha.
Yeah.
So what have you now got to change because your prac won't be usable?
Well, our prac was watering it every 2 days, and has been touched for 14.
So. Yeah. So you've then got to. Yeah. Okay. I've got you.
So it's either we fake it or we join someone else's group, and we've gone, well, let's join someone else's group, because that reduces all the work we have to do.
That's totally fair. I guess the only, I've had a pretty second week school holidays. Obviously, we had my best mate's wedding in the first week. We were in Noosa. Second week, had to drive out to the farm to pick up our golden retrievers, Rudy and Archie.
Rodney.
This week, I've just been really being dad and doing some podcast stuff. We did make quite a sizable purchase for the podcast this week. I drove out to Thornlands on Wednesday and picked up a Osmo Pocket 3 by DJI, which you will be heavily featured for a fair bit of content we've got coming up this year. Harry, Angus, myself, and Buck, whose wedding I was at, and another one of our mates. We are going to the test match in Mackay. So we're actually going to vlog the whole thing using
Is
that.
Dad still going to that?
I don't know. Our dad's a chance. He's currently been dealing with some medical stuff, so we're not sure if he's going to come. We would love him to, but we are going to be vlogging the trips and different things we do this year. We are also, I know this is 11 months away, but when the 150th test match is on, we're going down to Melbourne. We're going to be there. We're also going to vlog that. So this is going to be really at the core of the extra stuff that we do. Those vlogs will be coming on the YouTube. There'll be other vlogs and other content we capture as well. I have also started capturing some behind the scenes footage of us preparing for our first World Park Country Club merchandise drop. We have some really cool stuff that we will shoot and get ready in the coming weeks once harvest is done. And as soon as we have a drop date, you will see everything across our socials as we prepare for to do our first merchandise drop and share our World Park Country Club stuff with everyone. I've been doing a heap of really hard work behind the scenes, developing websites.
Yeah, you've been doing heavy lifting.
Yeah, doing product design. At this stage, which I think is basically locked in, we're going to offer the khaki cap and the navy cap. Then we're going to offer a white T-shirt similar to what you would have seen us wearing in different podcasts. And then we're actually going to offer a navy polo. We made some polos around Christmas time that I would describe them as like a school uniform fabric. We have gone away from that to get a type of fabric that's going to be more conducive to wear in the Australian climate and play golf in. That's going to be a navy polo with white stitching. So there's going to be those as single items, and there's also going to be bundles where you can bundle a cap and a T-shirt, a cap and a polo, or the cap, T-shirt, and polo if you do so choose. So keep an eye out for them. I've been documenting a little bit of the behind-the-scenes stuff I've been doing for that, and you will see that through some YouTube content coming over as the months roll out and we get ready to launch our first merchandise. So keep an eye out for that. We're really excited to see you guys enjoy that and throw into it. We've made sure that we've kept things very, very well priced because we do know that a lot of the people that are going to be buying this are people that know us personally as friends and family. So this is going to be our little founding drop. So get excited for that. One thing we did also, just a little bit of housekeeping before we do get into the football for this round. We would love if you could leave a 5-star review on our podcast platforms or wherever you listen to your platforms. So if that's on Apple, great. If that's on Spotify, great. It really helps the show get pushed out to other people that will love it like yourselves, and it goes a long way. We've already had a fair few people do that, but right now, if you're sitting at home cooking dinner or driving, wait until you get to your destination. If you could quickly pull your phone out and give us a 5-star review, that would be fantastic because it does genuinely help us. The other thing, one of the biggest things I've been doing...
No, just fine. Just going back onto the merch. If there's anyone listening who would like to request clothing that they think we should make into merch, that would be helpful that we could think about
extremely.
for future drops. Like extremely. I know us three are looking at making a nice rugby that is either World Park Country Club or Talk of the Town, and nice navy rugby, which I think will look great because I wear a lot of rugbies. So yeah, if you go like, oh yeah, a spray jacket would be great. Like just a nice hoodie. Just give us
we're genuinely
just flick us a message on something or a comment, and
we're really open.
Let us know.
I should have said before, all of our merchandise will be a pre-order, so everything will be made specifically for you. Just with the nature of how small we are, we don't want to hold on to any inventory, or if we do, we want it to be a very small amount for returns or resizing. So that's why we're doing a pre-order. So orders will come in. We'll place our orders with our manufacturers. We've already got quotes with embroiderers lined up. And so we'll get all that out. And then there will also be, once the orders do go out and they're ready, there will be, you'll see when you do check out, there will be a Dolby pickup option and a Brisbane pickup option, and obviously also shipping as well. So get excited for that. What I was going on to before, Harry, one of the things with the podcast, I've been very adamant and consistent. People will know, like clockwork, 6 p.m. rolls around, there will be a Talk of the Town reel on their Instagram, TikTok, or YouTube. It is genuinely like clockwork. And we had our first real go bang, which was me taking the mickey out of the AFL and the wider media and their excessive over-the-top coverage of Nick Daicos, where Cal Toomey from the AFL ranked his 99 games to date. And I took the opportunity to say that the next bloke that was going to play his 100 games was Jack Ross, making tongue in cheek that they should maybe review Jack's best 99 games. By no stretch am I saying that Jack and Nick are anywhere near comparable as AFL footballers. Nick has probably put together one of the best sets of 100 games, first 100 games that we have seen in the AFL. But boy, oh boy, did it strike a nerve, all from me trying to point to the fact that I think the wider AFL public that are not Collingwood fans have had an absolute gutful of the glazing of Nick Daicos. So that's been interesting this week, Harry, seeing all the comments and stuff roll in. Mate, it's still going. Sunday night, I posted that. I filmed that at the farm in about 20 seconds and posted it. I misspoke Daicos' name, and it was Daicos by accident. I thought about it in the moment. I was like, do I reshoot that? I was like, nah, screw it. Let it fly. Had a few comments about that. But it's also just like, I couldn't believe the nerve it struck. I literally thought this was just going to fall dead on its face.
Yeah, I thought it was going to have a bit of old man barks at clouds, but it was pretty good. You had Collingwood fans going, "Oh, it's rage bait. You're falling for this," as they're also falling for another form of rage bait.
Yeah, thanks for the free engagement, especially like old blokes on Facebook sharing the Facebook reel, of which I actually checked our Facebook reel analytics. Our most viewed age demographic is actually 40. I think it's like 40 to 55.
But that's just Facebook for you, mate.
That's just Facebook. But it's even like, some guy shared it and called me an idiot. It's like, thanks, mate. Thanks for sharing our podcast to everyone who you're friends with. I really appreciate it. I'll say this though, about 70% of the people that interacted or viewed the video, or like that interacted with it or like reshared it or whatever, they were definitely on our side. And again, my point was just that I felt like the AFL as a whole, and are just so over the top with the Nick Daicos glaze. Like, he is an exceptional footballer. He's put together an incredible first 100 games. But like, the best example I have of it is like last year, the AFL Grand Final. It's Brisbane versus Geelong, and BT in the commentary is like making a point of bringing Nick Daicos up multiple times. It's like, Brian, the Pies aren't playing. Nick's in the grandstands watching the game. Like, it doesn't, like, if Collingwood were playing, the Western Bulldogs in a grand final, is BT sitting there and having a conversation about Caleb Sarong? Or is he there having a conversation about Will Ashcroft? Or is he there having a conversation about Patrick Cripps? No. So why are they making a conversation? Why is he coming up?
Jacob Dow?
No, it's like, just stop shoehorning him in. We will have enough opportunities to talk about Nick Daicos.
BT, just talk about Ben Murphy's VFL debut.
It's just that's the point of the reel I was trying to make, is that the wider AFL public that are not Collingwood fans are sick of the glaze, and that BT example in the final is enough of it. But anyway, that's just my opinion.
BT, talk to me about Tom Berry.
Yeah, BT, talk to me about Jonty Fall from Richmond. Talk to me about Francis Evans from the Carlton Football Club and his goggles.
Oh, I love his goggles.
So, yeah, that was interesting. I mean, it's just my opinion. Take it or leave it. I don't really care. The other thing, before we go into the football, Red, White and Root episode 2 dropped on Friday. on Saturday morning. We recorded it Friday night. I do apologize for my audio. The dumbass that I am had the wrong microphone selected. So my webcam was recording my audio. I did everything I could in the post to polish it the best I can. I am sorry. I should be coming through to you nice and crisp. And that will not.
Crisp. I was sending very.
Yeah, you were sending crisp, but that will not happen again. But Harry, it was a massive weekend of football. There was some stinky games, there was some good games, and there was certainly plenty of storylines. We're going to start with the Lions' first game back at the MCG since going back to back against Geelong. We went down to the Demons by 2 points.
It was a really good weekend to not be able to watch any footy closely. Like there were heaps of blowouts. No, there wasn't. Saturday's combined total of margin was 13, and I could not watch the games. A robbery. So bad.
So Harry, you would have gone back and you've watched the mini from the Lions game when you got in.
No,
you haven't. You did listen to it on the radio.
Yeah, there. Listen to it on the radio. Oh, yeah, it was Triple M. No, Triple M. ABC.
I watched this game.
Can I say? An underrated way to consume your footy is the radio. There's nothing like a shameless plug. Like I'm hearing Lee Montagna. Oh, let's get a Bunnings Warehouse replay as we get a talk of the town stat, as we get a Optus, go Optus scoreboard update.
We're gonna go down to who's their boundary rider for Triple M. Who was the boundary rider today?
I don't know. I was too focused.
So say Lee Montagna's the boundary. Say Lee Montagna's the boundary rider, and BT's the caller. Right? He'll go. 5 straight 30. He plays 4 straight 24 on the Bunnings Warehouse Triple M Rocks Footy scoreboard, and now we're going down to Lee Montagna on the boundary line, where to our red, white, and roo Lee Montagna boundary line reporter, and he's just like, it's like it happens in the cricket, like Discovery Park's Triple M Rocks cricket. It's just the nature of commercial radio, but you do get to this point where you're like, I need that every single time they tell me the score?
The same ads all the time. Melbourne have just kicked another goal. Come on down to Downs Warrego Services, where you can get yourself the surfers with a smile. I'll just kill myself. I hate my club.
So there was 42,000 at the MCG today for the Jim Steins Memorial Game, which was nice considering the wonderful work that Harris Andrews has done in winning the Jim Steins Award that goes out, that gets given out at the Brownlow for his work in domestic violence, which I think is wonderful. One thing I did think was weird, and I heard it way more times than I wanted to, was every single time Melbourne kicked a goal, them playing, what's the name? Is it King of the Dance? The song?
Lord of the Dance. Dance, dance, wherever you may be. You are the Lord of the Dance.
It's just like, and obviously we've heard that from Kick It Forward, where they had it on their podcast. But the first time it happened, I was kind of like, oh, that's a bit odd. And then it kept happening after every goal, and I was like, okay, this might be too much. Is KO, can there be
Triple Ed blew up. They were like, oh, that's loud. They better not keep playing that. Oh, I'll have to. They were just taking the piss out of the dancers, going, oh, I've kicked them behind. Damn it, we don't get to see our dancers again.
Yeah, because they had the Irish line dancing crew that was there. They also had a thing where if you rocked up with your EU or UK passport, you got a free Guinness.
That's good.
And it was like split the G at the G. One thing I will say, Harry, I have a little bit of a superstition around Lions away games. I don't like to spend the whole afternoon watching them, but this Sunday afternoon, Celia, my wife, was taking Hugo for a walk, and I parked up with a tinny zero alcohol beer that me and our other brother Angus love, and I thought I'm just going to park up. I'd been up since early with Hugo. I'd done a gym session. I'd taken him for a walk. It had been a long day. I was like, I'm just going to sit here. I'm just going to enjoy this. And it was largely enjoyable. And then the third quarter rolled around, and it was just like, yep, that's Brisbane beating themselves again. Like, I know you look at the margin and you go, we lost by 2 points. But you can't concede 6-1 in the third quarter and then pull a rabbit out, expect to pull a rabbit out of the hat. And I know you made the comparison, Harry, that it was very similar to the Sydney Swans game from last year. And I honestly have to agree with you.
It was purely just us not turning up. It stunk of 3:15 on a Sunday in Melbourne, just like from what it sounded like on the radio, it didn't sound like we cared. And from what they were talking about, I haven't needed to watch the mini or any of the game to know exactly what's happened, because Brisbane do it so much and we can't seem to stop ourselves from doing it. It's like we don't care.
Yeah. It was, I'll say this. Sometimes I find it really hard when Brisbane play games like this, because we have these patches where you said it to me today. You said it's hard to tell when Brisbane lose if it's because the team that they played was better, because our best is so much better than anyone else's best in the league, that it's like, okay, when we do end up losing, it's because we defeat ourselves. And I know me and you all the time say, oh, we just defeat ourselves all the time, like when we lose, by not making it count on the scoreboard or missing chances. Like Brisbane have had their goal kicking woes for a while. Like it's been, pretty consistent, but they have been able to turn it around and hit the scoreboard. They had so many opportunities where it was just like, great 40 out slide angle, miss. 40 out, or like 30 out around the corner, miss. Or like blaze through a stoppage, miss. And Melbourne, don't get me wrong, they are playing some really good football under Stephen King. He's got them playing some real run and gun stuff. Like they were really taking the game on. Like Harvey Langford had 27 and 3. He looked silky. Van Rooyen took some massive grabs, like huge grabs. Yeah. And then you had, Cozzy and Latrell Pickett, Jack Steele and Bailey Fritsch. They were all in there in Melbourne's best and were great. Bruce Reveal had an excellent game again. He's really starting to come into his own as someone who was kind of on the fringe of the Lions list for a few years there, but through the injuries that we've had over the last 2 years, considering we've won the flag, it's crazy. He's really now established himself in our best 23.
Yeah, I could not agree more. He's someone where he'd be up in probably the top 5, 6, 7. Like people, I feel safest when they've got the ball in their hand.
Yeah, he's a great user. Great user by foot. When we were at the Lions Collingwood game, I described him to our mate Iden as he's a right footer who kicks like he's left footed. So you always look at a left footer and a right footer in the AFL, and the left footers, they just have something about their kicking action that looks so silky. Yeah. And I think it's the way that they're like nearly like a golf club hitting a golf ball, the way the angle their leg swings through on that path. He's got a little bit of that, but he's right-footed, which means just the way he strikes the ball is so pure, and he just can kick some huge bombs. Like he has a serious shoe on him. But he had a really good game today before he obviously then went down with cramp. Will Ashcroft was good again. Logan Morris, 3 goals in his 50th game and left some on the table. Let me say. I'll say this, Harry. Someone today who was, and actually someone this year who's been back to their best was Charlie Cameron. You would have heard it on the radio. His goal, he kicked the last goal of the game. It was an absolute beauty. Like Brisbane chasing the game late, they win the stoppage, and he just ripped the game open, busted through a couple of tackles, and then kicks it on his left foot, and the crowd goes nuts. He's been underperforming the last 2 years. Crazy to say again as we've won the flag. But 2023, he was excellent. Was he All-Australian 2023? I reckon he might have been.
I don't see, with that year, I don't see how they couldn't have. I think he was like 3rd in the Coleman.
Yeah, he was excellent. And anyway, this year he's been really back to his best, and he'd done a heap of work over the off-season, not only on his goal kicking, but also his fitness. And it really does show. He was unreal today. Oscar Allen, he clunked him up around the ground. He was good as well. But again, it just, like you said, when the whips are cracking and September's going to be there, we will be there and thereabouts. Brisbane are very much playing the long game. We are pretty good at that. Like I'm really confident that we'll peak at the right time. I know we sit 3-3, but we sit 3-3, and I don't really feel that concerned.
No, but we just we need to win these games. Like, you've just got to. You've got to bank these wins. I know our Gabba form isn't great, but in September, you give us a double chance at the Gabba top 2, we make the grand final.
Yeah.
If you meet the Lions in September, you can near on say goodbye to your season. And if it's at the Gabba, you give us a double chance, I don't really see us not making a grand final, no matter which way it goes.
Yeah,
even if we lose the first, because we just are that good. We just
it would take
in September.
It would take an exceptional performance. So let's just have a look at our next 4, Harry. So we've got Adelaide at the Gabba, and then we've got Essendon at Marvel, then we've got Carlton at the Gabba, and then we've got the Cats at the Gabba. So 3 I'd say 2 definitely I would put us down for bankers for wins there, and then you've got the Crows, and you've got the Cats.
I'd almost be more inclined to say we're going to win against the Crows and the Cats than we will against Essendon and Carlton. It's that sort of team. I
guess we'll be up for them. We'll be up for those games. It's the other ones where you kind of go, where we rock up and you go, oh, we should roll these guys, and we make it a little bit harder for ourselves. But then again, Harry, sometimes I wonder, does that make us a little bit more battle hardened for those bigger games? Do you know what I mean? Like, you're not gonna approach a game against Melbourne the same as you'll approach a game against like a Fremantle or a Hawthorn
or a Collingwood.
Or a Collingwood or a Sydney. Like, you are going to approach those games differently.
Yeah, but
so it's going to be interesting to play out.
I feel
it's going to be interesting. Sitting 3-3
has had their challenges and pretty big rivalries with Melbourne along the years. If there's any bottom half team I'd expect us to be up for, it's Melbourne.
Yeah. Sometimes against Melbourne, we saw it last year at the Gabba where Jake Melksham was just unreal, but we just seem to have these weird performances where you kind of just go, I don't really know what we're doing. Some concerns, Harry, out of this game. Jared buried his calf in the second quarter. Noah Answorth with a late HIA where he got bumped by Cozzy Pickett into Brody Myercheck. Very concerning for him considering his concussion history he's had recently. It'll be interesting to see if Cozzy Pickett will see any MRO trouble for that, because we've seen in the AFL this year, a concussion generally means that there's going to be some form of suspension. I guess you can look at Noah Answorth and go, without that bump from Cozzy Pickett, he's not really going to get a concussion in that scenario. Bruce Reville left late with what the Lions said was cramp.
Good. Has that come out now?
So that's a win. That's a win. And then the one concern for Melbourne was Harrison Petty left the ground with a delayed concussion. In what was a really weird scenario. So they said there was a knock he had earlier in the game, and then he got delayed concussion symptoms in a delayed sense, as in probably 40 minutes later, and he's taking this kick out of defence and he shanks it. Ashcroft takes the mark. He ends up kicking the goal, but he's walking back to the goal square, and he's there, and he says to his teammate, you can see him mouthing on the broadcast, he was like, I'm dizzy, and he's nearly getting lightheaded, and then they come out, get him off the field. So we really hope he's okay. I know Brisbane have had their run-ins with Harrison Petty over the years, but you genuinely hate to see that. Milestones. It was a milestone fest in this game. So you had Lachie Neale playing his 300th, Dunks playing his 200th, and Logan Morris playing his 50th. 550 games of experience and 7 premierships between them, and it didn't end in a win.
Yeah. I don't know. This loss is just really why?
It's frustrating.
We had reasons to be up for it.
Yeah, we did. That's also the first milestone game Lachie Neale has ever lost. So he won in his 50th, 100th, 150th, 200th, and 250th. Did he win his debut? I didn't see that.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. So he's won in everyone. So it's his first milestone loss.
I don't know if it did for you, but this game, the whole week, just had this stench of us losing it, and we did. I was talking to Dad this morning as we were sitting having a nice coffee, and I was like, he actually brought it up. He was like, Harry, it just feels like we're gonna lose today, and I was like, look, I agree. It just Sunday 3:15. Look, it reeked of us losing. Melbourne coming off a bad loss to Essendon. They were going to be up for it. We were not going to be up for it, which was proven.
Oh, I see a point. I was pretty confident in us winning, and then I can definitely see though how like certain games and certain time slots when you've watched enough football just have a feeling like it's nearly like the fabric of history like repeats itself at some point. You just can get these vibes of games, and that was definitely one of them. So it'll be interesting. I'd be pretty confident the Lions will bounce back with a solid performance to Gabba. Yeah. Really, if you remove that, I mean, Melbourne, they're an improving good side, but really, if you take that third quarter out of it and Brisbane take their chances as well, and that third quarter isn't a 6-1 quarter, Brisbane win that game comfortably, which I feel like we say that all the time. There's a period of the game where Brisbane just, their pressure drops off, they miss. It's like a triple whammy. Their pressure drops off, they miss their opportunities, and then the other team gets really plucky with the inside 50s that they have, and they make the scoreboard count, and that's how you make the Lions pay.
And we get
if you don't do that, you won't beat.
Our mids get ball hungry, and when it doesn't go to them, it just seems to go to the other team in waves.
Correct. Moving on throughout the round of football, we saw on Thursday night, same old story for the Blues. They led by 18 points at three-quarter time. Collingwood kicked 7 straight in the last quarter, including 5 in a row after a 6-6-6 infringement, where Jamie Elliott buried a goal. Carlton's Taylor Byrne had a shot after the siren to tie it, and he missed. The Blues now sit 1-5. It's the same old story in a different week.
I think this is like Blues. Like no one expected them to win that. I think it's concerning for Collingwood, personally.
They can't score. Like that's 15 games in a row where they haven't kicked 100 points.
Did you say 5?
15.
Yeah, 15. I was about to say it's way more than 5. I'd be concerned if I was a Pie supporter.
Yeah. Yep. Like me too.
You can't defend your way to winning games.
No. And one thing I will say is Nick Daicos' 100th game, right? He had a very poor third quarter. Very poor. I think he only had three touches or so. But he wills them to that victory. I'll read you out his fourth quarter stat line. 13 disposals, 9 contested, 4 clearances, 2 tackles, 1 goal, 5 score involvements, 2 assists to finish with 39 disposals. Collingwood won 7 clearances in a row during his fourth quarter burst. He was simply unplayable. He willed them to that victory. And it's one of those where I know early in Craig McRae's career, Collingwood came, they ended up being like the comeback kings. Like it was like no lead was safe and Collingwood would mow down these deficits in these like huge fourth quarter ambushes. But I think you can look at that as a one-off and you can go, okay, Nick milestone game, he got us home. But you can't expect someone to do that every week, even a player as lofty as Nick. You can't rely on winning games of football that way.
Yeah. Well, because he's very hard to tag. If you can take 10 touches off him and instead of him getting 40, he gets 30, say 30 and a goal, you've kind of done well. And you don't need to quell him too much to beat Collingwood.
No.
Because he is all they've got. I would be so concerned if I was a Pie supporter, but
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, look, one of the biggest games of the year, it would have been a huge scalp if Carlton got up, but I'd be sitting there going, if I was a Pies fan, I'd be going, it's great we've won, it's great we got there, but we have to start winning and we have to find a way to win without it all being the Nick show. Because then, like, what if God forbid for Pies fans, what if Nick Daicos unfortunately has a season-ending injury now?
Yeah.
Where it eats into a 12-month rehab. Like, I'm talking an Achilles or an ACL. Obviously, we hope that doesn't happen. But, like, what does that do? Like, what if like, we saw Sam Darcy, which we'll get onto, go down with an ACL? What do you do then? And I know you can't plan for your star player to be like that, to go down with an injury. But what you can do is have a balanced enough midfield that someone else can come in and make an impact, and your midfield isn't built off one guy being one of the best players in the competition. You can't rely on that, because then when they leave, it's such a massive sized hole that you don't have the depth to cover, that your team goes from being like, it's like LeBron James in his heyday. Like, I know LeBron is an excellent basketball still now, but you take him out of that Cleveland team when they're going in those Golden State runs, and they're not even a patch on it. They're not even close. Nick's a little bit like that now. I know it might not be an exact example because Cleveland did have Kyrie in there as well. But the point is you take your main focal point out of it when you rely on them too greatly, and you can't put the pieces back together and see it in a way that will work in some capacity.
Well, you're like, who's Collingwood's second best player?
Maybe, would you say Josh?
He's been
he hasn't been. I mean, he's in my fantasy team. He's been so stinky.
Like,
so stinky.
Seriously, like, it is that much of a drop off. Like Dusty,
mate, I'd nearly put. Yeah, you probably got Darcy Moore. I'd nearly put Jamie Elliott up there actually.
He's been terrible to start the year. Good game last on Thursday night, but he's been nowhere. Like, he looks like a 33-year-old that's gotten a contract and is enjoying life.
Might be a contract too long.
Yeah, I think they'd be going, oh, maybe we should have let him go to Gold Coast. I can't believe they let Myercheck go. That is funny.
Yeah, and he was good today as well. He always kicked cracking goals against the Lions. But it'd be interesting to see what happens moving on. One thing I will say, we're not going to go into any detail on it because it's a personal matter, but we just want to send our love and support out to Elijah Hollins with whatever was going on and whatever is going on in his life. We hope he gets the love and support that he needs. And that's all we're going to say on that. The game on Friday night, there were two games on Friday night, which was a little bit odd.
The other one hadn't seen much of it because we were recording red, white, and
blue. We were. The Sydney game I saw the back end of because there was a lightning delay. We're not going to talk about that game. Sydney kind of did it easy. Giants battled a little bit, but at the end of the day, they just weren't really that close. Sydney roll on for their impressive start to the year. But what we did see is Geelong steamroll the Western Bulldogs in what I would say, it reminded me of when the Lions beat the Suns and we had injuries galore. But this, for the Dogs, was an absolute nightmare.
Yeah, it's they're just not going to win the premiership. Like,
No,
and I think
not now.
It'd be really disappointing as a Dogs fan to be able to write yourself off this early. And I don't think any Dogs fan in their right mind would say that they have any chance now, which is really disappointing with the start they had where they would have been full of hope. And they've now lost Sam Darcy. Their ruckman is out for what could be a fair few weeks.
With that knee. They lost Tom Liberatore, James O'Donnell, and Rory Lobb. The latter, O'Donnell and Lobb, both to hamstrings. Liberatore got a concussion.
Yeah, it's like, you just go like, what? Like, what do we do?
Yeah.
It's not like if the Lions have these injuries, like, let's say, who's our guy? Let's say Logan Morris, which has his ACL, which I'm touching wood right now. Hopefully it doesn't happen. But he's not going to be detrimental to us going for the premiership because...
No, he'd leave a hole, but you'd back Fagan and the coaching staff to not redesign, but they would I guess redesign. They'd redesign the forward line
but what
to suit
you just
a better balance.
But it's for them because like Logan Morris doesn't do what I would say is the miraculous. He's just a role player that is so good at his role. He's like Sam Darcy just does things out of the blue that are crazy.
Yeah, freak.
And
freak.
It's so
Such a talent.
It's so sad for that to happen. But they'll unearth some good talents like the Lions have when we've had injuries, and they'll be all the better for it next year.
Yeah, I think the one of the things that, I mean, you hate to see it. It was a bad ACL. Like, you know, like just the way that Sam is such a big individual. When someone that big buckles under the weight of their knee and all of their body weight goes through their knee like that and it hyperextends, it's so bad. And I hope Sam, you know, gets his surgery and he has as fast as a recovery as you can with ACL and as seamless as you can have, because they can be quite complicated recoveries with lots of different speed bumps. The eerie part of this is that his dad, Luke, suffered the same knee injury in the same pocket at the same ground in the same round in 2005.
Goodness. I did not know that.
If I'm Sam, I'm never playing in Geelong again. Once he's back, that is some bad juju. We send our love to Sam. The Bulldogs started 4-0, and we even spoke on this podcast. We said that we were comparing it to 2021, where they had a really nice run at it, and they ended up coming second, and they lost to a very good D's side. They were 4-0. Everyone was talking about them as flag contenders. Since then, they've lost Tim English. Sam Darcy's out for the year. You've then not only that, you've lost Rory Lobb to a hamstring, which, I mean, because of the injury to Tim English and the lack of ruck stocks that they've had, Rory Lobb was fine. You could plug him in there. But to the point where they were having to play Sam Darcy in the ruck. Like, it's like, the way I would describe that is like if you had an Audi station wagon that was like your runaround car. You're a wealthy family. Audi station wagon is where you're driving to and from work. But the Audi is in for a service at this time. So you have to take your fun car. And so you've got the Ferrari. The Ferrari's in the shed, and you've got to go take your Ferrari to do the kids' drop off. And while you've done that, you've totaled the car.
Nah, because Sam Darcy did his injury in the forward line, but I get what
he did. Saying. But they had been using him in the ruck, which is kind of like, I don't think they should have used him in the ruck to begin with. I feel like
yes, but it played no part in the injury, and everyone who says it did is just their loss of heart. I saw Kane Corn saying something about it.
I'm not saying that him being in the ruck contributed to his injury. No, I'm just saying that the point of
it was stupid.
Them playing him in the ruck was dumb. And I just don't think you should do that. I think there's enough examples. Yeah, and I just feel like there's enough examples in the league where like a team's have had like a huge ruck mismatch, and they've then gone on to still win the game. Like the one I think of, 2021, the Lions on Easter Thursday played Collingwood, and we had all of our rucks out. So Tom Fullerton was playing as our main ruck up against Brodie Grundy, and we won, and we beat Collingwood. Zach Bailey kicks a goal after the siren, but I think Tom won I think Brodie Grundy won like 90% of the hit outs, and Brisbane win. So and you know, there's a heap of other, you know, look at Geelong. They haven't been playing with a proper ruck for years. So that's those games. I felt like they were the biggest talk. They were the best kind of games around. Adelaide St Kilda ended up being a great game. Adelaide get home in what was an emotional performance after the sad passing of Jordan Dawson's brother. We send our love to the Dawson family as well. Hawthorn snuck through against Port Adelaide. Now, I watched a decent chunk of this game, Harry. Port Adelaide, they really came to stick it up Hawthorn. And Hawthorn managed to get the job done. Mitch Georgiades had a shot late to win the game, and he missed.
It's disappointing.
Which was heartbreaking. And then what we did see, we saw Sydney progress forward and keep their spot up at the top end of the ladder. And then we saw Freo dust the Eagles easily tonight in what was a pretty forgetful derby.
The derby.
Competitive first half. Eagles fell away. Freo kicked in front. And that's basically what happened. And before we move on to the rugby league, Harry. Is there anything worth noting from the AFL weekend that we didn't cover that you wanted to bring to the pod?
No, not really. Again, didn't really watch any.
I want to make it clear, listeners. When Harry says he didn't really watch any, it's because he couldn't, because the signal is so bad out of the farm. But he was. I rest assured, he was very much across the weekend of football, in the capacities he was able to be.
Yeah, I tried to get stuck into some KO work, and it would like. Do you know when it's like borderline usable, but it's.
But you can't see the stream because it's about 140p.
Yeah. And
yep.
I started the weekend off going, oh yeah, I'll put the Eastern Gold Coast thing on KO, and then I'd like turn my phone off and just listen to commentary. Kelly Underwood was commentating, so that was the end of that.
That was actually, mate, that game was a goal fest. I had that on Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, but I did my best. I did my best to watch the Lions game, and I was like, hold on, this is just frustrating me more.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about setting up the phone. I'm talking about I'm sick of Brisbane. So I just turned it off and started listening to music.
And that's fair enough. The rugby league, Harry, though, on Saturday night, the Broncos, the baby Broncos, led by their returning halfback who is in the last year of his NRL career, Adam Reynolds, wound back the clock and was the difference. He played an instrumental role in the Broncos' 2 tries in the 3 minutes before halftime, and then icing it with a penalty goal after a Coruscant knock-on and a rogue field goal that no one saw coming.
Yeah,
which was interesting. They were scrappy, they were undermanned, but the Broncos, in what is a tough performance at Campbelltown, they extend their winning record to 34 years. They win 21-20 in a thriller with quite a young team.
Yeah, well, I certainly just thought that Tigers were going to win. So that's why I tipped them.
We all tipped them, and I think there was definitely a feeling going into the game that this was inevitable for the West Tigers, and Brisbane, considering how undermanned they were, that they were going to get it done. But that was definitely not the case.
No, just didn't win. Like,
I mean, you have a look here, Harry. The Broncos they had out that were, I would say, a key. They had Reece Walsh out. They had Ben Hunt out. Pat Carrigan was suspended. Corey Pakes got a head knock. Payne Haas then injured his knee in the first half, which meant that 20-year-old Cameron Bukowski came on for his NRL debut in the second half. Now, you look at Cameron.
Mike Wazowski.
You look at Cameron Bukowski, and he looks like someone who's just come out of schoolboy footy. Like, he genuinely does not look like someone who's ready to play NRL, but he came out there and held his own and did a few really nice things, and that's a great win for the Broncos because you look at that and you go, they've had some games, and we've been critical of them this year, saying that they rely a little bit on the flashy comeback wins, but that was a really good game of football. Brisbane really battled really hard, and in the end, it was off the boot of Adam Reynolds. He was exceptional. He was definitely the difference between the two teams. The first half, the Tigers dominated possession, and the stats in the possession do show that. I think Brisbane had 37% possession in the first half. And you look at that, and you look at the Broncos' moments when the game was on the line and where they had a chance to go at them, and Adam Reynolds was absolutely at the center of it.
Yeah.
Which, to still be doing the damn thing at his age with his calves and muscles the way they are, it's a testament. Yeah, he's still got it, the kid.
Real gutsy win. Like, it's one where you go with those injuries possibly for a bit of time. It's really good to give them a bit of confidence to go, yeah, our team might be a slap together, but we've just beaten the red hot West Tigers, which can't believe I'm saying red hot West Tigers.
Not only that, I know. Not only that, at Campbelltown.
Yeah, and I just think that gives them confidence to. Are they going back to Suncorp this week?
Yeah, they've got the Bulldogs on Saturday. Sorry, on Friday.
It's a big game. To go to the Bulldogs and really like get back-to-back wins, get your season a bit back on track. The troops start slowly coming back after that, and then you shape up for premiership defence.
Yep.
And
one thing I will.
Well, you go on. I was just going to touch on was it Friday night? Finns Panthers.
Yeah, before I get to that, if I was the Tigers, this felt like a time where you could have broken a really big hoodoo. Like the Broncos have, they hadn't lost there in 34 years. Felt like a really good opportunity to break that. Not only that, they were chasing their best start since 2018 and a fourth straight win for the first time in 14 years, which is crazy to say as well. But if the Tigers can't win at home against the Broncos side missing 4 of their best players, do you actually count them as potentially, as a potentially threatening team come September?
Yeah, I think they still are. Well, they definitely can be. They might be going through their natural progression of what teams do. They might get an elimination final and bow out in the finals, but just getting to the finals is what they need. I think they can be. I definitely think they can be. And I think this is a bit different with the Broncos as it is to the Lions. But when you're versing the Broncos, you're versing the Broncos. It doesn't necessarily matter who's out there. And you're also versing the reigning premiers. And what you're saying there is you're saying, are the Tigers the real deal because they didn't beat the reigning premiers? They're still the reigning premiers. I think they're okay. They've had a great start. Maybe this is the fall back to earth they needed and get them back on track. I think they'll be fine.
I think I watched the game and it reminded me so much of a team that's on the rise, but they haven't learnt how to manage games. They just haven't got the reps in of managing games yet. Like the Tigers this year will be light years ahead of where they've been over the last 10 years. Like that, this is going to be a good year for them, and they're showing some really good signs and they're showing improvement. But it doesn't happen overnight, and to get better at those game scenarios, games on the line, managing tight games like that, you do have to actually have put yourself in that position to then know how to handle it more better or differently the next time. So I would say the Tigers would be all the better for that. I know for fans it might be frustrating because a lot of people in the wider NRL circles hate the Broncos and you really wanted to beat them. But I certainly wouldn't be discouraged from, even though the Broncos were undermanned, tight games like that will only benefit them into the future. So it'll be very interesting. The Tigers have the Raiders at home back at Leichhardt Oval on Thursday night, and the Broncos have the Bulldogs on Friday night. So it'll be very interesting to see how those come out. You will see our tips for those games come out on socials as per usual. Harry, you wanted to touch on the Penrith 1-point win over the Dolphins.
Yeah, after I didn't watch any of this game, but after I did watch some of it, but after harvest, I come in, eat my dinner, have a shower, collapse in bed, and I look at my phone. I go, 10 minutes left. Finns are winning. I'll throw it on. Obviously, Penrith score a try through old Jenkins. And then it goes to Golden Point. I was really hoping the Finns were going to win. Yeah, it's just Cleary kicks another field goal. But Penrith are still who I think will win the premiership. And I almost think having this stumble is necessary for them. But is there anything they need to be concerned about?
I definitely see what you mean. Like if you know, a 1-point win against the Dolphins and the way that they obviously come back and it's similar to what we were talking about with the Tigers before. The Panthers have game experience, scenario experience in spades. So they are one of the best teams in the competition of managing games. And the reason for that is you look at the scoreboard. Like you go the whole way back to 2020 to 2024, they played in every grand final across that patch. So no one played in more finals than them across that stretch. You look at the performance they had last week where they lost to They lost to the Bulldogs. And then the round before that, they absolutely humped the Storm. I think a little bit similar to the Lions, the Panthers know that when the whips are cracking, they'll be ready come September. And so it is possible for them to have these down games where systems just don't go to plan. Teams execute better. You maybe don't execute as well. And all of a sudden what you've seen is they've brought themselves down a little bit through their execution, and the other teams brought themselves up a little bit through execution, and they end up meeting in the middle. And that's probably what ends up happening with that happens across all sorts of different sports where, if a team that's far better than another team on paper, but as we know, Harry, sport's not played on paper.
No.
You can look at them on paper, but sport's not played on paper. So if someone's performing below their ability and someone's exceeding their ability that is expected, that's how you get performances where you go, I can't believe that team's lost to that team. It's not like you can't believe it. They're elite professionals, but I think similar to what we said about the Lions, I think Penrith will be fine. They're going to have down weeks. So that also, still a road trip up to Redcliffe, they're playing at Redcliffe at KO Stadium.
Guess where it was? It was in Darwin.
Oh, it was in Darwin. Yes.
A long.
The locals would have been loving it up there. So yeah, there you go, Harry. Even more so to my point. It was a road trip for both teams.
And obviously Cleary close to his future home of PNG. That would have been nice for what's his name?
Mary.
No, not Mary. What is Cleary's first name?
Nathan.
No, sorry, I've just had a mind blank. I'm quite very, very tired. Nath just being up near PNG when he goes and plays for the Chiefs, I think they're called.
Yeah, I think they're being called the Chiefs.
Yeah, he's going to be a big signing for them, so it's nice for him to get up and get used to a bit more humidity.
But yeah, and the Panthers have the Knights, so they're off to the Workers' City to play the Knights on Sunday afternoon at 2:00.
Ooh,
so
Sunday at 2. That's got a bit of. Could the Knights do something there?
No, Knights have been good this year, but I'll definitely back Penrith. Harry, before we move on to the stock exchange, we do actually have we have Anzac football coming this weekend.
Yeah.
Now, usually Anzac football, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm super hyped for this. But being Queenslanders, Harry, we don't get a public holiday this year, and Anzac Day falls on a Saturday, so doesn't.
It's kind of a Saturday.
It's a bit of a letdown. I love it when it's a Tuesday or a Wednesday, because then you get this weird scenario where you've got on Tuesday you've got the Anzac Eve game. Say Anzac Day's a Wednesday, you got the Anzac Eve game on the Tuesday.
Yeah.
Or actually I think the best is when Anzac Day's a Thursday, so you have the Anzac Eve game on the Wednesday, and so you've got football Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
No, when Anzac Day's on the Wednesday, and you've got Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah, now that there's actually true. Now that there's Thursday night football every week. But yeah, I mean Anzac Day. Oh, I actually think, just to talk about Anzac Day in the AFL. Sorry, listeners, I know we've darted around a little bit. Essendon are a chance. I'm not saying they're going to win, but I've got a feeling. I've got a feeling about the Bombers. I think they could beat the Pies.
Dude, I think anyone can beat the Pies. I'd back Richmond. The aim of the game is scoring, and if you it's not hard to score better than them, and if you score better than them, you win. So,
I mean, that's Collingwood's caveat. They've built their thing on we're going to be hard to score against, and they have to be. It's kind of like Ross Lyon when he was with Fremantle. It's like, we're going to play really boring football, but you're not going to be able to score goals against us, and then we'll just score more points than you score, not by much, but we'll win. So I'm not saying that Collingwood are going to lose. I'm just saying that Essendon might turn this into it might be a ripper, and I really hope it is, because nothing would bring me more joy than seeing Essendon win. But at the moment, I'm still leaning towards Collingwood.
I'll tip Collingwood, but it's one of those games where like the big occasions where anything can happen. Like,
but yeah, it's like Easter Monday.
Yeah,
you just don't know. So we're going to go into the stock exchange. So how this is going to work, because I'm the host and Harry is the other member on the podcast while Gus is not here today, I'm going to ask for Harry's, and then I'm also going to give mine. So the stock exchange, quick fire, buying and selling, no stock exchange. Harry, the first one. Carlton makes the finals in 2026.
That's a stupid question.
Answer it.
Are you being serious?
Yeah, Carlton makes the finals in 2026.
That's a hot take.
Mate, 1-5, they're blowing 18-point leads. Voss in the hot seat. Can they turn it around?
Oh, mate, they can turn it around. I'm buying that. They're absolutely making finals. No, that is stupid. Stupid.
I put that one in. I put that one in to hear your reaction. The other one, Hawthorn finishes in the top 4 at the end of the home and away season this year.
Yeah, buy. I just don't think you can say they won't. I think there's so many bad teams around them.
Yep, I totally agree. I'm definitely buying that. Fremantle are a genuine AFL Premiership contender.
Buy.
You reckon they are?
Yeah, if they can make the top 4, they're basically guaranteed to be in a prelim. They're not going to lose over in the West.
I'm going to go buy, but I'm not totally convinced.
No, I'm not convinced.
I just feel like Freo have been in this position a little bit the last few years, and then they cook themselves and they end up falling apart, and you're like, I don't know how this happened.
Yeah,
but for now,
it feels different this year. The win against Collingwood last week, like they're winning games that you just know they would have lost in previous years.
That's true, and they're also banking wins early. You definitely can't put a price on that. The next one, Harry, the Western Bulldogs flag hype was overcooked to begin with.
Nah, no. Yeah, I think no. Not everyone realised how shallow their list was, but you expect to have your best players. And I think they're, with their full strength team, they're a genuine threat. And it was shown in the first few weeks. So I think no, it's just unlucky and unfortunate. So I'm selling that.
Yeah, I'm selling that too. When you do your preseason predictions, you're kind of like, you're looking at it and you're always evaluating people with their best list on paper. And when you look at the games that they've played with their best list on the field, they've been a really good side. And injuries, it's just the nature of sport. It's really unfortunate. Like, one of the big things of winning a premiership is staying healthy. And I know Brisbane have showed in the AFL over the last 2 years that you can still have a plethora of injuries and win the flag, but that's because they've had such a deep list. And the Bulldogs do have a deep list, but it's when you get these really key position players and these X factor guys. Like, the reality is that if we lost a Lachie Neale and a Will Ashcroft now, or if you lost Jasper Fletcher, Daines Orko, and Kitty Coleman all at the same time, our backline would look incredibly different. So for them and the guys and the height losses they've had, they might be able to at least make the wild card and make the 8 still. But I don't think they're a serious push for the flag.
No, they'll steady and make the 8, or like make the 10 or the 8, but they're not going to be. They're not going to be any.
I can't see them making the top 6.
No, neither.
It'll be a 7, 8, 9, 10 mark. The next one, Harry. West Tigers are a genuine top 4 chance this year.
Yeah, I think they are. I think the NRL is so up in the air that you kind of just like, you're not really counting anyone out. And I reckon they're a genuine chance, yeah.
Yeah, I'm the same. I think they are. I can definitely think they can. Yeah, I'm buying that. I think they can. I think they can sneak in. I just feel like they've got a lot of guys in the right spots.
Yeah.
And they certainly didn't. I know we went over it. They didn't disgrace themselves against the Broncos. They actually put out quite a good showing. Melbourne Storm will miss the finals this season. This is a spicy one. I'm so on the fence about this because you can't make finals forever. You can't patch up holes forever. You can't, at some point, even with a Moneyball strategy, at some point, it's a step too far and you can't replace guys with hidden gems. You know what? I'm going to buy.
Yeah.
I'm going to say they're going to miss finals.
I definitely don't hate it. I'm massively on the fence.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. They'll miss finals. If Reynolds and Walsh can't stay fit this year consistently, the Broncos will struggle to play finals.
Nah, I think they'll play finals. No matter what. And I think that was proven by the win against the Tigers. No one gave them a chance. They still.
That's with Reynolds, though. He really did steer the ship and get them home. They don't win that without him.
Yeah, Reynolds.
Because if they lose Reynolds and they don't have Ben Hunt fit, that means they've got the kid that came from the Cowboys last year.
Yeah, but the question was Reynolds and Walsh. If Ben Hunt's there, Payne Haas is there, I think they're fine.
Yeah. There's definitely concerns though. Like he's so fragile. Like it's kind of like, geez, hang in there. I mean, and then next year they get Jonah Peasant. I am going to sell that. I think they've got enough depth. Manly can play finals this year under Kieran Foran.
Sell.
You don't reckon they can?
No. It's all just a little new coach hype. They'll be bad again.
I mean, they currently sit in 6th.
What? How's that happen? I swear they were 18th.
No, mate, they're sitting in 6th.
Nah, sell.
So they've had 3 wins and the bye, which means they get 2 points for the bye.
Yeah, sell.
So the other teams, Harry, that are on 3 points, that have had 3 wins are Cronulla, the Bulldogs, Canberra, Parramatta. I'm going to say sell. Yeah, I think the same. I'm just not sure that they can. I'm not sure they can get there. And I think that it might fade out. And also Turbo's out as well. I had forgotten about that. So the last one, then, Harry, this is going to segue us on to the next topic. Arsenal win the Premier League this year.
Sell. They're bottling it. They have no chance. They have been so bad in the media. No one gives them a chance. Sell. So
Harry's selling that. I'm so on the fence because they don't need that many results. So we're about to preview the Manchester City Arsenal game coming up. It's tonight. So you guys will have already known the result when you listen to this. So we won't preview the game too much because you're going to be listening to this after you watch the game. Before we get onto that, though, Harry, the last one on the stock exchange for this week is, will Tottenham Hotspur be relegated from the Premier League? So to give you some context on this, Opta and their analytics and prediction models now have Tottenham at an exactly 50-50 chance to go down.
They were so harsh not to get 3 points this morning.
Mate, that goal from Xavi Simons, that was that was something. If you haven't gone and seen the highlights from the Tottenham's game, go and watch Xavi Simons' goal. Finish.
It would be somewhat cool to see them go down, but I'm like, after seeing it kind of become a reality, it was always just a novelty. I now just don't want it to happen. Like, I think it'd
be a massive deal. I mean, we haven't seen it. Like, I know you've seen, we've seen Leeds go down, we've seen Newcastle United go down in the Premier League era, but Spurs going down, like it would be the first like big. I know like Spurs are Spursy and there's a whole memes around them, but they're still a top 6 club. They won the Europa League last year.
Yeah.
They have contested for Premier League titles. They have like the stadium they have and the club that they're trying to be. There is the whole debate around they essentially say things in the media, but their actions speak far louder than their words with how they operate as a club. I know Daniel Levy's been heavily criticised for that, and rightfully so. But it would just be ridiculous, like the way their massive stadium and everything. If they were to go down, it would be crazy. Just the money side of it, it's just very different. And even like you go from playing 38 to 46 games in the championship. Is it 44 or 46 games?
No,
it's either one. It's a lot of games. It's a big step up in games, plus earlier cup football as well in both the in the Carabao and the FA Cup. At this stage, I'm actually going to say I'm going to sell. I'm going to say they're going to stay up, but it is going to be a dramatic finish. The other one, actually, I'm not going to go into that now because we're going to get onto it. Harry, Arsenal, there is 6 points in it. City have a game in hand, so if City win this game, they go 3 points to Arsenal. And does City then also have an extra game in hand? Is that right?
Yeah.
So if City win the game in hand in this game, they go level on points.
Yep.
Which is crazy. Absolutely crazy. So what are your thoughts, Harry? You're a Manchester City fan. What are your thoughts going into this game?
If we win tonight, we win the league. They'd be too shot mentally. Like them in the media, they've lost the plot. They're making up their own storylines. You got Declan Rice asking himself questions. Like a journalist just says, "Oh, are you annoyed you didn't win the game against Sporting? Only went through on a 1-0 aggregate from the game before." And he just goes on a spool about, "Oh, we're not listening to the media. We're fine." Like, no, it's not. It's not frustrating because we still went through. And everyone's just like, "Mate, wait, that's not the question we asked." Like, you got Arteta saying, "We're on fire," and lighting fires at training.
And the TikTok screen that he's had up at training.
Like, it's all just like, they've lost the plot.
And they look shattered. They look so tired.
Yeah.
Like, they just, and,
who's scoring their goals? Like, who's going to be a Ryan Cherky to pop up and do something miraculous? He's Erling Haaland. Like,
yeah, he's some player. And I mean, not only that, Harry, there's the wider situation for them where their injury situation, you talked about then, you said you compared them, you brought up Ryan Cherky, and rightfully so. They have had, these are their injuries: Saka, Odegaard, Marino, Madueke. That's 4 players that play in an advanced position, all injured. And then you've obviously got Jurriën Timber as well. They're out. So that's 5 key players missing for a title decider at home after a midweek Champions League game. City have had a full week's rest. And to really add insult to injury, Harry, Arsenal haven't won at the Etihad since 2015. 11 years.
Yeah.
And they're now 22 years without a Premier League title.
I don't have any confidence really in this City team. It's more than just not like having so much confidence that Arsenal will just stuff it up.
Yeah.
Like, it would not surprise me if I wake up and we've lost 3-0 and you go, "Oh yeah, it was nice. We're not going to win the league." But if we win, I really have no doubt.
It has a feeling of inevitability to it. I think if I could relate this game to another game that happened in the history of football, it has so much feeling about Liverpool in 2013-14 where Gerrard slipped. Going into that game, Chelsea were there. It was a massive game. Massive. It was kind of like if Liverpool win that game, it basically gives them a much... It would have been... They'd have to really blow it to lose it from there. If they win that game, it's pretty close to signed, sealed, and delivered. And they buckle under it. Gerrard slips. They lose, I think, 2-0 in the end. And then City go on to win the league. And there's obviously, after that, there's the Crystal Palace performance where they go from being 3-0 up to drawing 3-3. It kind of feels like that. It kind of feels like the emotional and the bubble of everything else and the pressure is just like closing in on Arsenal. And they are just trying to hope that they can get to the end of the season and get a result that will alleviate that pressure. But some of the bizarre stuff coming out of Arsenal and the way that they're playing, you just nothing fills you with confidence. And like you're right, you make a right point around Manchester City, where like they're not a typical Manchester City side. This isn't a team that's peaking in the second half of their season. They're genuinely a team where Pep's made some moves that he hasn't normally. He's brought in ready-made players that aren't necessarily system players and has made them fit. And there's obviously the overall feeling that if City get this done, Pep will walk. He'll go out as a champion. Rightfully so, he deserves it. But I don't know. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be really compelling. There's so many storylines to come.
It would not surprise me if we lose this game, like I have already said. But it's like, I feel like if Arsenal don't win, they lose the league. Like even a draw, I feel like is not a result for them. Like I feel like, because what would a draw do? Take us 4 points behind them?
Yeah.
Or would it be 5?
No. 5, because a draw's a point.
Yeah, 5. 5 points behind them.
So then if you draw and you win your game in hand, you're 2 points behind.
Yeah. Draw and win the game in hand, 2 points behind. I back them to slip. I back them to draw a game. And if we smell blood, I can almost see us going unbeaten to finish the season. Like, or if we put enough pressure on them, they'll capitulate themselves, like we've seen in all their previous title ones where City have gone around them. Like, I think it was 2023. It was the first. No, I reckon it was 2022. It was the first one Arsenal led the whole time when Gabriel Jesus went there in the summer. They capitulated so bad that City won the league after Arsenal lost 2-0 to Brighton. And City had to play the next day against Chelsea. Like, they did. They capitulate themselves. Like, they had a bit of that against Bournemouth. City don't even do anything. Arsenal
well, City, we saw in that Capital One, showing my age there, the Carabao Cup final, City basically just like sat back on Arsenal and just gave them those easy passes out of defense and just went, okay. And they just made these like brainless passes that were zero risk. But City were like, okay, yeah, we're happy to have, yep, we'll give you those. And it just meant that then they had to take risky balls in through the midfield and City would put the pressure on, close them down, and then they're turning them over with their defense wide open because of where they've pushed. And it just hasn't seemed like they have found a fix for that. And Bournemouth other teams have started to expose them for it. Bournemouth did it as well, and it's turned into a little bit of a blueprint, which is worrying. The other thing, Harry, to finish on this, the City-Arsenal game is, I'm just having a look here. Arsenal have a better goal difference by +3, which is, to be honest, at this point with 6 games to go and 7 games to go for Manchester City, 3 goals is nothing. Yeah, absolutely nothing. It's nothing. So we might end up seeing a situation where they're tying on points and goal difference comes into it. So that has another added factor.
I think Arsenal scored 2 goals in their last 5 games.
I'm not entirely sure, but it would not surprise me. They've scored
not many,
none against one. Yeah, count the FA Cup.
Yeah.
So their last 5 games, they scored 1 goal against against Bournemouth. They scored 1 goal against Sporting. They scored 1 goal against Arsenal. So they've scored 3 goals in their last 5 games.
Yeah, that's not building goal difference.
No, not at all. We did touch a fair bit before on Spurs. Xavi Simons scored a beautiful goal overnight. They drew 2-2 after being up 2-1, and it was a crushing blow late. The sentence Tottenham Hotspur playing in the Championship, just for me, like doesn't compute. As I said before, opt to have them as a coin flip chance of going down. That's 49.5%. They haven't won a league game since December. They're on a 13-game winless run. They haven't won in the calendar year. They haven't won in 2026. We're in April.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It is crazy. Absolutely crazy. This prediction model has they've already relegated Wolves and Burnley. So this third spot is between Spurs, West Ham, Forest, and Leeds. Leeds won overnight. I would nearly have them as safe. But Forest, they're into a Europa League semi-final. West Ham are showing signs. And so for Spurs, it's kind of like, if you don't start pulling some results out, this thing's going to become inevitable. So they have 3 home games left. They have they had Brighton, they've got Leeds, and they've got Everton, and they also still have a trip to Wolves. So they can get points. Like, I'm not saying they're guaranteed to go to Wolves and get a win, but they have an opportunity in front of them with the players they have and the quality they have throughout their entire squad. They have the opportunity to still do this thing for themselves, but the ball's in their court. And you don't, and it's up to them at the end of the day. Like, if they need to try and turn this around, or otherwise it is going to be relegation for them.
Yeah, it's crazy to say.
And even, I know we spoke about Forest then. I would nearly, I can't see them going down. I can't see, the way they're playing, and they're into a Europa League semi where they're going to play Aston Villa. I just can't see them going down. So then if you remove Leeds and Forest, it ends up being a conversation between West Ham and Tottenham. And it's going to be really compelling to see what happens there. Harry, anything for you to touch on there?
No, not really.
Well, listeners, that's going to do it. That's been a episode with just Harry and I. We've got plenty more to come. Remember, episode 2 of Red, White, and Roo is in your podcast feed right now. Thank you for everyone that tuned in and all the love we got on Harry's Town Files episodes. Everyone seemed to, we got a lot of really good feedback that people really enjoyed those. Harry, did you get any personal feedback from people on that episode?
Oh yeah, just Mum. She listened to it and she came and gave me a hug, and she was like, "Oh Harry, there are good things." Because I said, when I think you asked about my traits, I just said 3 bad ones.
Yeah, and I know our sister said the same thing, and I was like, no, don't worry. And there is plenty of positive things said about Harry across the next 2 episodes, which leads me into Angus's Town Files episode drops on Thursday, where Harry sat down and interviewed him. So stay tuned for that. The only other thing from me is, don't forget to leave a 5-star review on whatever platform you listen to. We would be greatly appreciated. We love you guys. We love that you have been enjoying the show as much as we enjoy making it. So we've got Anzac football coming up. You're going to get another Gabba food review coming next weekend when the Lions take on the Crows. We're looking forward to it. That's Talk of the Town. Anzac round next week. It's going to be a big one. We'll catch you then.
There is. I'm going to go have a shower.
Bye.